This is Modern Persian Food,
a culinary podcast for today's food enthusiast.
We talk about classic Persian flavors,
modern recipes,
and embracing culture and identity through food.
I'm Bita.
And I'm also Bita.
Welcome to our show. Hi, friends. Welcome to the Modern Persian Food Podcast. Today, we are in episode 180. We've celebrated 5 years of recording.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm here with my partner and co-host, Bita, the other Bita June. Hey, Bita.
Hi there, Bita June. How are you?
I'm doing good. So we took the summer off. We took a little break. And we missed you, listener. Thank you for being here. A lot has been going on in the world and in our lives. And today we're going to take a slightly different structure. We're going to have a casual approach, kind of catch up on what we've been eating and cooking lately, and just get back to it. So I just want to take a moment and just say welcome. If you're a new listener, this podcast has always been a platform and a means to kind of gather in our shared love of Persian culture through food. And at these hard times, I'm especially appreciative to have this community and this support to kind of lean on, and also food as a joy and a bit of a distraction. Cooking could be really therapeutic. But yeah, so let's just get right into it. It's been a super busy summer.
Yeah, indeed. And, just building off what you're starting to talk about here, Bita June, I think this summer, it started off, it was hard times around the world and in the Middle East and in the whole Persian community with the current events that were happening. So it was a tough little start to the summer. It was super, depressing for a lot of people, for myself included, for anyone who had family or ties in Iran or just saw what was happening. It was pretty devastating. And I personally felt very hopeless, and I didn't feel like I had things that I would be able to do to make change. And I found that what helped me feel grounded during that time was cooking Persian food. And that's when I felt the most at peace and the most calm, was when I was cooking Persian food, connecting with my culture, and kind of like building calmness and stability for myself during that really stressful time. And what I found that is I felt like I wanted to share that with other people. And so for myself, this can lead into our next topic here of what some of the projects that we're going to be working on. But I felt like teaching others and sharing Persian culture, Persian food might be a way that they could help connect to their culture and bring them peace as well. And so we have this cooking class that's coming up that we can get into in just a minute. But I felt that I really wanted to kind of expand on that and kind of share some of that love of Persian food with other people. And so I'm starting to do some cooking classes. I've done a little trial one. I have another one coming up. And then we have a big one that's coming up that you helped connect all the dots for. So I'm excited about that. And I think it's just a way that we can kind of share the beautiful elements of Persian culture and the special ingredients and cooking techniques that are specific to Persian food. I'm hoping to help teach people how to cook Persian food.
That's fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm with you. I'm sure that many of you who are listening as well, that sense of hopelessness, and that you found a way that you can feel you're helping others. And that's really meaningful. It's kind of been, for me, always the basis of why I'm passionate about this is, kind of to build on this community, to make the connections. And we hear from many of you. But yeah, it wasn't an easy summer. I know that when these things have happened, we've been through a lot together. Look, there was Zan Zendegi Azadi. And this felt to me kind of similar, just in terms of like social media. We needed a break. I know you took a long break from the social media. And yeah, beyond hopelessness, yeah, scary, sad. Yeah, I think it's good to put it out there and to talk about it. And wonderful that connecting through cooking brought some peace for you. definitely want to put it out there to all of you who have family and friends and community that we're thinking of you, and that hope that those times haven't been too hard on your families and your friends. And yeah, just wanted to definitely put the love out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that helped a lot, kind of like grounding for me. And it was just a big project that I was kind of like working on and tinkering away in my mind from a creative standpoint, where things like, well, what kind of menus would we want to put together? How would that work in a cooking class? And also, like, what are some recipes that are staples in my home that would be easy enough? And with the kind of approach that I take of how can we make it accessible and easy to make for my family. And so working with that. So that was a fun kind of like creative element to the whole summer, where I looked at it as like a positive thing. So I'm happy about that. I had the opportunity to hang out with Omid Rustai from the Caspian Chef and his new book, Bitter and Sweet, which was lovely. And that was fun. I went to a dinner that he and another woman, Reem, hosted. And they started off the dinner with a fun drink. And I've actually been making this drink now all the time.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were able to attend Omid the Caspian Chef's event. Did you also go to the book signing?
I did. Yep. And I went to his book signing.
Yes.
And he is so lovely. It was the first time we had met in person. And for anyone who doesn't remember or wasn't a listener back then, we have had Omid featured on our podcast 2 different times. One time we talked specifically about foods of the Caspian Sea region, and another time where we talk about kashk. So that was a fun topic. And he's such a great storyteller. And it was really great getting to know him a little bit better and meeting him in person.
Yes, he is a really sweet and lovely man that I feel like we know personally just from having on the show a couple of times, always willing to educate and share his recipes. And I was sad to not be able to join that particular week. My husband had a minor surgery, and so I needed to put my family first. But yeah, another reason the podcast, I think, has been so wonderful for our community. We have had so many incredible people on the show. I think it gives a platform and a means for talented people in the Persian food community like Omid to speak to a larger audience, and then hopefully like give the boost of confidence to do more and more. And I love watching how Omid has grown in this space with his cookbook. So you're holding something really beautiful in your hand.
Yes. And just to finish that thought, I remember we did have Omid on a third time for our Yalda episode last year, where we featured people from our community and who have been influential in the journey of modern Persian food. So he did have a third little appearance as well.
Yeah.
But yes, this drink that I'm holding here, I'll have to post a picture of it on our socials so that people can see it too. But this is a tall glass of palude, which is a cantaloupe drink on ice, flavored with rose water. And I have a little mint garnish. And it is the most simple thing. And I looked up a bunch of other recipes for palude in all the various Persian cookbooks that I have. And they all kind of very slight differences. But basically, it's just cantaloupe and rose water. My cantaloupe is very sweet, so I have no added sugar in it. And it's typically like a sharbat, served in a tall glass with a little bit of ice and a little straw. And it's so fun. That dinner that I went to, they started it off with a little glass of paluze. But in our family, we go through a lot of melon and cantaloupe specifically. So I always have cantaloupe. And it's actually easier for my gut, too, to have it in this form versus just like the raw fruit, like chewing it normally. This way, I basically put it in a blender, added a little bit of the rose water, and then that's it. Omid's recipe includes grated cantaloupe, which does look a little bit more fine-tuned, but this is like a delicious way to enjoy it. And I'm going to have a sip right now.
Enjoy. Palude. I learned something new. I've heard of falude with an F, but I'm not sure I've heard of palude, and that sounds so easy and delicious to make. You know what? I'm going to try a version. I do like cantaloupe, but I like Persian melon even more. It's really aromatic. It's like a greenish white flesh, and it's really hard to find. I've been told that it's impossible to find, that Now, the closest thing to a Persian melon in the U.S. is the Hami melon.
Yeah, the hami melon, or even like a honeydew is kind of like that more greenish flesh.
I love honeydews. They're so sweet. The Hami melon, I think, would be really good with rose water. Now, tell the truth, did you put rose water in yours?
Yeah, I did. I specifically had to go buy more rose water. Yeah, I've come a long way with rose water.
Is it growing on you? In the early days, you used to not like it.
I didn't, but now I'm loving it.
Look at you.
I'm loving it. And even like the rose scented products and things like that.
Yes, with the medicinal uplifting.
I think that episode really changed my life.
We had Dr. Mahtab Jafari. I love that episode too. That's one episode that I listen to on repeat because of all of the tie-ins it has to health.
Yeah, that episode with Dr. Mahtab Jafari totally changed my perception of rose and rose water. I mean, I love roses as a flower. It's one of my favorites, especially orange roses, but I love them all. The calming properties of rose and how the tests that she was doing, the lifespan of the insects that they were testing on was like longer just by smelling it, just by smelling the rose, being next to the rose, not even ingesting it, really kind of changed my perspective on it, I think. And I'm all about the rose water now.
Yay. Right. And if you recall back to that episode, we made the tie-in that, look, our grandmothers and our ancestors were on to something, that they used to sniff the sort of essential oil of rose to get the mood lifting effect. So, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I love it so much because of all of the tie-ins with health. So as you were kind of finding therapy in cooking and immersing yourself in Persian cuisine, I had my head in my books and I was studying so hard. I finished a certification program with the Pediatric Health Coach Academy. Woo-hoo! And I took the national board exam finally in July. So that's what I was busy with in the summer, was studying for the big exam. It was a 4.5-hour test. It was a lot. And we had a study group. We were really consistent. We worked really hard, and we just got our results this morning, and we all passed.
Move on that question.
Thank you so much.
So exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I think I probably overstudied. I thought the test was really hard. I was pleased with my results. But yeah, I guess I just figured I might as well go in. If I'm going to be doing this, I might as well give it really my best. And it's a big relief. I guess you could be a good coach without having all these certifications and, what are acronyms to your name, but it was important to me to make it official. And, there is a national board now. So happy to be part of it.
Yeah, awesome. Very happy for you. And that's really great. I know you worked really hard on that a whole year. You've been working on that. So I'm proud of you. And I'm glad that you were able to meet your requirements. And I'm excited to see what the next steps are going to be for you.
Thank you, Bita June. Thank you. Yeah, it's a big relief. A lot of the things that I was cooking, I did do a little bit of Persian cooking, but as kind of per always, I had to put in my own healthy twists. So one of my very favorite comfort foods and things to make for the family, or even just Bob and I, which it is mostly just Bob and I with our young adult kids being out of the nest. I love making tahchin. To me, it's just so simple. Take rice, take chicken, take yogurt and eggs, basic ingredients, and make a comforting, delicious casserole that basically has like so much tahdig to it. It's so freaking good. And the essence of it, it's really easy to keep the flavors of this dish while kind of adjusting the proportions on it and making it even more nutritious. So what I've been playing with, I've probably done it maybe 3 times now, is I bump up the chicken, I bump up the eggs, I bump up the yogurt. So all of the elements that have good protein are elevated. I will sometimes cut down on 1 or 2 of the egg yolks just to keep cholesterol kind of under control if I'm using a lot of eggs. And then I started playing with switching up the rice. I do definitely still use the white basmati rice, But had kind of forgotten about quinoa, for example. Like quinoa is an ancient grain that it's a good source of protein. And so it's kind of more or less flavorless to me. So I started sneaking in some quinoa. And then I also started to put in a little bit of brown rice. So right now my recipe is probably 1/3 white basmati, 1/3 brown rice, and 1/3 quinoa.
Wow.
And everything else is kind of more or less the same. I use the chicken, I use the yogurt, I use the eggs, I use the saffron. I like garlic in mine.
What?
And
Okay.
salt and pepper. Mine is a savory version. I know you do sweet versions, but mine is very savory. I like a lot of black pepper. I love garlic. So I put the things I love. And it is so good. I just had it for lunch. We eat it in like 2 days, 2 or 3 days. I mean, it's like a big casserole thing, but we eat it and it's like gone. So it's been a success. The flavor holds. And honestly, like, I have a grown-up picky eater. My husband is a grown-up picky eater. Like if it tastes healthy, he doesn't want it. And this does not taste healthy. I mean, it just tastes like the real thing.
Oh, that's so great. Now tell me about the tahdig. Do you just keep the white rice for the tahdig, or does the brown rice and the quinoa touch the ends of the pan too?
I used to do it in the more traditional way of like, okay, like a layer of this, a layer of that. And that's what tahchin translates as, I believe, is kind of like setting up layers. But now in my quick and dirty version, everything is mixed together. So it depends what kind of quinoa I'm using. Sometimes I find like frozen quinoa that's already cooked. And other times it's just, the dry quinoa, little seeds or whatever they are. But I like to kind of saute them a little bit, brown them and with garlic. And then that gives the quinoa a little bit of flavor. And the rice, I usually have leftover rice because I do make a lot of rice. So I'll just put in like a little bit of the white rice. And the brown rice, I usually just have a bag of frozen Trader Joe's brown rice. So I just mix those 3 grains together. For the liquid portion, I stir up my eggs. I add the yogurt to the eggs. I add the saffron in the eggs, and I put the chicken in there. And then I just combine it all. It's just all one like goopy casserole layer. And then I will often melt some butter in there because I'm kind of a sucker for butter. I love butter. And I figure, I'm making some accommodations. I'm making some healthful swaps. I can go ahead and put some butter in there. And I think that putting the butter in there, it helps with the browning of the tahdig. And you just have to cook it long enough, really. And I just keep it in the oven. I usually do 350, 375, depending on how hot my oven is. And I just wait until I can see that the sides of the tahchin are browning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That sounds amazing. But I was wondering, it's like the brown rice and the quinoa don't get too hard for like a tahdig. I've just felt like my brown rice, when I've made tahdig with it, sometimes it's like super crunchy, but I wonder if it has that same effect in the oven.
I don't know if using a brown rice, like a long grain, like a basmati brown rice would have different results. But the one that I get from Trader Joe's is quite fluffy and soft.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have as much of a husk.
That sounds amazing. I love tahchin. It is such a versatile dish, actually. Like, you talked about how the very traditional ingredients that goes into it, but you could totally put like lentils. Some people put eggplant and kind of like play around with it. And again, to your point, it is pretty flexible on like the ratios of if you want to have more protein or less protein or omit the protein completely. I love it. And I love how you used cooked rice as like a kind of shortcut, really, to make it cook faster and using what you have. So I love that.
Yeah. I did something similar. I won't go into huge detail, but I did something real similar with salad olivier.
Oh.
Salad olivier that I know is one of your favorites that you make a lot. Mm-hmm. I made a big batch of it. I have a neighbor whose husband hasn't been well, and I've been cooking bigger portions and sharing with them quite a bit. And salad olivier is one of those things that's easy to share. I mean, who doesn't love potato salad? So I did the same thing. I bumped up the chicken, I bumped up the eggs, I cut down on the mayonnaise, and I used, I think, just a little bit of like avocado-based mayonnaise with some, I think I added a little bit of lemon juice and a bit of mustard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You do like putting a little mustard in yours.
Yeah, and Trader Joe's has a pickled mustard now. It's a mustard that has pickles in it.
Oh, really?
And so I put a little bit of that in there. And
Oh, fine.
because salad olivier, Persian potato salad, what makes this different is pickles and chicken and peas and carrots. And so I thought that might be interesting to put that pickly mustard in there for zing.
Yeah, a little bit of zing. I love putting fresh lemon juice in my version too. And I've been making salad olivier. Did I tell you about my vegetarian version that I've been making?
I don't think so.
So the same basic ingredients, potato, egg, the peas and carrots, pickles. I use avocado oil, mayo. And instead of chicken, I've been using chickpeas.
Oh, how is it?
Great. It's delicious. I love it.
What form of chickpeas? Just out of the can?
Out of the can, I rinse them off and then I put it in there. And it's so satisfying. And it's not like, oh, this is like a swap. It just feels really natural and really good. And
Wow.
it's a nice little change when you don't want to use chicken. You want a vegetarian version.
Ooh, that's a great idea. Thanks for sharing that.
That's a fun one.
What else have you been making?
Like I said, we go through a lot of melons in our house. And I think that's because my son doesn't really like watermelon. He's the cantaloupe guy. And my daughter doesn't really like cantaloupe. So she's the watermelon girl.
Of
so we
course.
constantly have all these melons around. And another thing that I've been making, which I love, and it's so refreshing, is like a watermelon refresher. But like watermelon in the blender with fresh mint. And that's it. And served on ice or without it. And it is so refreshing. And the mint really brings out the flavor of the watermelon. And it's so simple. I've been making that a lot too. And I'll just make it and I'll put it in a jar in the fridge. And it's just easy to kind of pour myself a glass whenever I want like some fresh juice.
That sounds delicious. You've been really putting your blender into use and
I know.
getting after those melons. That's great. Well, for our family, it was also a summer of graduations. Our younger daughter graduated from college, which was a huge milestone, and I'm super proud of her. And then my nieces, my brother's twins, graduated from 8th grade. And when you said watermelon, that made me think of the watermelon salad I took to their graduation party. They had with their pod of friends like a crab fest, and I had never been to a crab fest. It was really fun. It was really messy, and I took a watermelon salad. I mean, it's just an easy, good, hot summer day thing to take with a little bit of the mint, a little bit of the feta, and the squares of watermelon. So I just think that's a really refreshing salad in the summer. It's easy and goes with everything.
Yeah, I love the saltiness of the feta in there. It kind of really brightens everything up. Another cheese that I was just thinking about too, that I like thinking of salty cheeses. I made this the other day. We went to a concert in the park. That's actually last weekend. And I made these little like wraps with like a lavash bread, and I put goat cheese, a ton of fresh herbs. I have mint in my garden. I had basil and some cilantro, and just put it in there and with some walnuts and rolled it up. And that was like such a fun little like wrap. I cut it into a few pieces. And that was a little fun thing to do too. It made me think about like sabzi khordan and our platters of fresh herbs and cheese and things that we have at our table.
Oh, that's yummy. We were invited to a happy hour with some new friends in the neighborhood, and the host, she said she was going to do crudité, and I wanted to bring something. And so she said, well, you're the chef. I said, what should I bring? She said, well, you're the chef. And I thought, oh my gosh, I am not a chef. We have had chefs on the show, but it's funny that they think that,
Yeah.
because we have the podcast that we're
home cooks.
I'm a home cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, that kind of put me on the spot. I said, okay, I'll make some dips to go with your crudité.
Great.
And I did like a Lazy Girl eggplant dip. It was so good. I just grabbed go-to Trader Joe eggplant, red pepper dip, and they actually also have another eggplant appetizer there, and I can't remember if it's in a jar or a can, but I just basically went and grabbed anything eggplant that they had at Trader Joe's. I mixed it together, and then I added my own little this and that, which included some olive oil fried Persian mint on the top. It really elevated it, and it was super delicious, and it was gone in a flash. And then I made some mastochiar. Then I just made the mastochiar with Persian mint, and I put a little bit of dill in there as well. So that was really easy. And Trader Joe's, this is turning into another Trader Joe's episode. We've had a Trader Joe's episode, but they
Yes.
now have these flatbread crackers that have green olives in them. And even people who don't like olives, because it's not a strong olive flavor, love these. I can just sit down and eat these crackers like bread. And they were really delicious with these two particular dips. So that was kind of fun to take, and it was easy.
Sounds delicious. Well, I could sit here talking about food all day with you, Bita June. Let's just take just a moment to just talk about kind of like what's coming up. You know, we are starting the fall now, and hopefully we are going to be back on track with our normal broadcast schedule. So the first Wednesday of every month, we will be bringing you a fresh new episode. If as a listener, you have some ideas for us, or there are some topics you want to share with us or want us to deep dive into, please let us know. You can reach us at hello@modernpersianfood.com or from our handles, Bita, B-I-T-A, at modernpersianfood.com. And mine is Bita, B-E-A-T-A, at modernpersianfood.com.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that our email list keeps growing even as we took a break over the summer. And so that's pretty cool. You can sign up for our email list either directly from our website, or you can also jump on our email list on Instagram in our link tree. And we want to keep the conversation going. You know, if you've got an idea for a guest or a topic, as Bita said, just shoot us an email or reach out to us through social media.
One thing I definitely want to pick up, we've talked about this. I've been interested in this topic for a while, and I would love if, you know, within this next year of ours, that we can actually get a guest to teach us more about Southern Persian cooking. Some Bandari maybe, or other Southern cities that have like a different flavor profile than, you know, some of the other cities and regions of Iran. So I'm looking for some of that spice, maybe those more hearty tomato flavors. And if you know someone, or we should be talking to someone about this topic, please let us know. But I think that that's an area that I really want to learn more about personally.
Yeah, that's been on our list. And thank you for putting that out there. Yeah. And, you know, that makes me think like, I have been meeting people that are Persian just randomly in life. And I don't know if it's my bleach blonde hair or for what reason, but people don't normally see me as being Iranian. And so it kind of is a fun way to get to know somebody by asking where you're from. And I have met people from parts of Iran that I've never heard of. I mean, there are so many different regions in Iran, and there's so many variations in recipes and flavors. And like you just mentioned, for the southern region, the food can be hot and spicy, which is not the norm. If you're new to Persian food, or if often we get asked, you know, is Persian food spicy? It is not spicy in the sense of being hot on your tongue. It's well spiced and aromatic often. Yeah, I'm with you, Bita. I do want to learn about the regions that maybe do have a little bit of hot and spicy to them.
Yeah. And then, you know, of course, we'll have a version of our Yalda episode for the winter solstice. So we'll see what that looks like this year. And I think it's going to be a great new season. You know, we're starting the fall, so beginning kind of like the school year. So I'm like, you know, in the mindset of a new year. And I'm excited for what's to come and some of these cooking collaborations that we have coming up, and excited to kind of share that with our listeners as we go through our journey of inspiring others and inspiring people to learn and cook and eat Persian food.
Yes, I got my first Mehragan invitation. Mehragan is right around the corner. In a lot of senses, this time of year can be like a new beginning, and it almost makes sense for it to be like a new beginning, almost more so than spring. In spring, it is about newness all around nature, and Mehragan is a really beautiful time. So it is absolutely about that. I did a meal plan the last 2 weeks because I just felt like we needed to, even though it's just Bob and I, and it just gets me to cook more. It helps me with the grocery lists, and it's just a time to kind of buckle down, get into your routines, and Mehragan has that element of the gratitude and the celebration of the bounty and the food that we love so much too. It's a great tradition we have in our culture.
I love it. All right. Until next time, Bita June. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope that you enjoyed our show, and looking forward to next month's episode.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Modern Persian Food Podcast with Bita and Beata. Thanks for spending time with us. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, consider telling a friend or giving us a good rating. You can subscribe to our show for free on your favorite podcasting app or find us online at modernpersianfood.com or on Instagram for the recipes and information we talked about today. We'd love to hear your thoughts and see you next time.